Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, the New York Jets have a lot of offensive line issues, and there's someone that could potentially become available at some point, and that is David Bakhtiari. A lot of Jet fans have started talking about this, along with some other media types as well. We've been kind of talking about David Bakhtiari basically since we heard rumors of Aaron Rodgers potentially coming to New York. We knew they were best friends. Jets have a need at the tackle position. We've had tackle issues dating back to last year. Mekhi Becton has missed the last 2 seasons with knee injuries. Dwayne Brown winds up getting hurt. He's still on the PUP list. You have Billy Turner and Max Mitchell trying to hold down those 2 tackle spots. And then you have this all-pro sitting over in Green Bay on a pretty not so bad contract for the New York Jets if he winds up getting traded. We'll get into that in just a moment. But I want to talk about some of the rumors surrounding this player, and could he wind up actually getting traded to the New York Jets? What would it cost, both from a trade perspective and from a financial perspective, for both the Packers and the New York Jets? But I want to talk about it, from the beginning. So, of course, Jet fans have kind of been talking about this. We've been speculating it for a long, long time. But I heard it pop up recently on Kay Adams talking to Kirk Benkert.
Who do you think, if you had to guess, who Aaron Rodgers will miss the most?
David Bakhtiari.
I mean, how's that going? That's just got to be like, I love you, man.
I'm going to put a really, really hot take in this, and I think that there would be a chance that there's a reunion one day. Maybe this year, maybe next, I don't know, but I could see one more piece of the puzzle ending up in New York before it's all said and done.
I want to talk to, why does Bakhtiari not talk? I'm like, Bakhtiari, come on the show. You know what I mean? Is he just like, he's good, he's chilling?
No, I think that, he's good and chilling, but I think, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but okay. I think he'd have a hard time not saying things.
Oh. Then that's why we need it. That's what we want. Wait, so a reunion of Bakhtiari. Okay, a reunion of Bakhtiari and Aaron Rodgers happens because why? They just love each other?
Oh, they're
that's what that $35 million is for?
Oh, yeah, it was to save room for David.
Oh, my God. Don't do this.
Okay, I know it's going to go over.
Has it been talked about, do you think? Or is it just like joking? Like, I still think like you're going there. I still think Jordy, I think James Jones is like booking a one-way ticket to New York.
I think if anyone ends up there, it's going to be David, simply because he gets tagged in every single picture that Aaron posts on Instagram still. And there's a saga there. Like, they love each other. And Aaron misses his golf cart, I'm sure.
They mentioned that Aaron Rodgers is tagging Bakhtiari in all these Instagram posts. The most recent one that I saw was literally Aaron Rodgers tagging David Bakhtiari as Aaron Rodgers' nipple on his most recent post. So, look, these guys are broing out left and right. They clearly have some type of affection for one another, and I think if they could facilitate it, it would make a lot of sense for Bakhtiari to end up in New York. But does it make sense from a financial standpoint for the Jets and for the Green Bay Packers? What would it cost in terms of trade compensation? And is this just a one-off conversation that we've kind of heard? Well, I saw a report pop up. This is from Armando Salguero from Outkick.com. The Jets have discussed the idea of trading for Packers left tackle David Bakhtiari to try and solve their ongoing issues at the position. Rodgers and Bakhtiari obviously have a strong connection from their time in Green Bay. So that brings into question, what is it going to cost? What does this kind of look like? David Bakhtiari right now on the Packers has a $21.3 million cap hit this year. He just restructured his contract this season to save the Packers some cap space this year. And then next year, he's set to have a $40 million cap hit, so a very, very large number next season. If he gets traded, the prorated portion of his signing bonus that he got this year does not follow him. So that does not come to the New York Jets. His cap hits for the Jets would be about $2 million this year and about $21 million next year, which really, if you're the New York Jets, that makes a ton of sense to try and do. So from a cost perspective, we still have about $10, $11 million left in salary cap space, so you can easily fit the $2 million for Bakhtiari under the salary cap. He has missed 26 games over the course of the last 3 years, and obviously, look, Rodgers' best friend. When I pull up his injury history, this is kind of where they've, shown where he's been injured and whatnot, and clearly you can see the ACL tear in 2020 was really the cause of a lot of issues, and he's had rehabilitation things, and then some surgery from rehabilitation that have kind of knocked him around a little bit the last few years. So, does it make sense from an injury perspective? The Jets already have injured tackles. We have Mekhi Becton, who's missed the last 2 years, Dwayne Brown, who's still on the PUP list, and then you have Turner and Mitchell. So Does bringing in an injury-prone tackle with ultimately a pretty high salary cap hit for next season, does it make sense for the New York Jets, and does it make sense for the Green Bay Packers? The Packers do have potentially an heir apparent in place in the event that he outperforms Bakhtiari or Bakhtiari gets hurt. So I do think there's a strong likelihood that Bakhtiari is probably gone after this season. I don't see the Packers paying him $40 million or taking that $40 million cap hit next year. Maybe he restructures, stays there longer term, and then stretches that cap hit out so it's not actually a $40 million cap hit. I think that's entirely possible. A lot of this hinges on what happens with Jordan Love. Is he the guy? Do they need Bakhtiari, or does the backup wind up, I forget his name off the top of my head, something with an N. Does he have enough protection without Bakhtiari there? Because there could be something to be said for the New York Jets making a trade and the Packers wanting to trade Bakhtiari, because the Packers get Aaron Rodgers, get the Jets' first-round pick if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps. So if they think there's a chance that Aaron Rodgers gets hurt behind the Jets' offensive line, they may want to secure their first-round pick in Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't necessarily believe that's going to be a massive push for the Packers. Like, I don't think the threat of Rodgers not playing 65% of the games is that big of a threat, honestly, because he has played virtually every game for his entire career, especially the last few seasons. So I think that's not really going to tip the scales in their favor. But I do think the Jets would have to offer something above and beyond, because if the Packers are trading him, they're going to incur a pretty strong dead cap hit. Now, they do save about $2 million this year because of the way the contract ultimately ends up working out, but they'd be eating like $20 million in dead cap, which elevates the price of what it would cost to trade for a 32, 33-year-old offensive tackle. So if I'm the Jets, we've already lost. Let's assume it's our first-round pick. You're not going to have, Rodgers is going to play 65% of snaps. So you're losing your first-round pick in 2024. You're talking about giving up probably the second-round pick that year. You're giving up the cap space next season. Aaron Rodgers took $35 million less. You heard it from Benkert. It seems like they're probably, or he was probably angling to try and get the tackle that he really wants there. And I do think there is a strong likelihood that it does happen at some point. Now, I think it could maybe happen towards the trade deadline if the Packers have realized, okay, we're going to cut Bakhtiari in the offseason. Let's try to get something for him right now. That might be the cheapest way for the Jets to ultimately get him, but I don't think the Packers are looking to necessarily do the Jets any favors after like the way this whole Aaron Rodgers saga kind of played out anyway. Not to mention him taking $35 million less. I'd have to imagine that at least the Packers brass are a little bit salty after getting dragged through the coals in terms of the contract that Rodgers kind of backed them into a corner to sign. So I don't think they're looking to do the Jets any favors here. Now, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm 100% keeping an eye on Bakhtiari. I don't think this year it's likely to happen, though. I think what's more likely to happen is he's going to get cut after this season. The New York Jets are going to have both Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton. They're going into the final year of their contract right now, so they're going to let them play out this season. They are going to end up leaving. Bakhtiari is going to ultimately end up coming to New York. He'll restructure that contract, that cap hit. I guess it wouldn't be. If he winds up getting cut, then he signs a whole brand new contract. But either way, I think in 2024, it's far more likely that he winds up as a New York Jet, which means for 2023, the Jets are really going to have to figure out some way to make all these issues on the offensive line go away. You cannot have these types of issues consistently hampering a 40-year-old quarterback. He's not the nimble, young buck that he once was, even if he's keeping his body in phenomenal shape. So guys, I want to hear from you. Do you think there is a likely chance that David Bakhtiari ends up in New York, or do you think maybe next year is when that happens, or is it all just a bunch of baloney? Let me know in the comment section down below, and as always, go Jets.